Hello there, hi, I am Big Alias, and I'm disappointed. Not at myself, dude. I'm awesome. I'm like really just so good, so good. Okay, it's kind of me too. You know, this isn't the Call of Duty start that I wanted. This isn't the Modern Warfare 2, bubble that I wanted to put myself into. Unfortunately, it didn't go entirely the way I wanted it to. The initial plan was to wait until Season 1 comes out, because in my opinion, that's when the game fully launches. That's when my mouth fully launches into the air. That's when the game fully launches, and obviously because we get prestiging, and prestiging is, I think, necessary to a Call of Duty game. So I was going to wait until Season 1, then start these smaller, shorter commentaries, and to help support that, Infinity Ward went ahead and released the best Call of Duty game since Black Ops 1. This game is freaking awesome. It's addictive, and I'm having such an amazing time with it. So that's fuel for the fire, right? Let's get going with these. But then the universe said no. The universe said, actually, Alan, how about fuck you? How about you go fuck yourself, dude? How does that sound for a bag of grapes? So unfortunately, I really haven't been feeling it. I haven't been feeling the energy. It takes a certain amount of energy and sort of invigoration and ignition to make these videos. You have to be feeling it. You have to be feeling good. Like, yeah, let's do this. Let's make some videos. I want to talk about some stuff. And unfortunately, I haven't really been recently for a myriad of reasons. This happens to me, fairly often, but it really is now. Obviously, the rise for the past couple of years, we've had the rise of the incel, which has then been supported by the rise of the alpha male, which is a branch that offshoots from the incel and obviously targets incels, and has then bolstered that up and made it bigger and branched it out by then targeting people who would have worn sunglasses in the early 2000s, like the gym bros, by saying, hey dude, you're an alpha male, dude, right? Targeting these stupidest people on the internet in order to get the largest audience of brainwashed teenage boys possible. And unfortunately, that was something that was on the rise. It definitely was, but we were able to sort of keep it down and keep it suppressed. There's so much more to say about this, and I really don't want to get into it, but obviously it's ties to the alt-right, and yes, I never get political on this channel. It's not for you, but for me, because I like this to be a little space where I hang out and talk about video games and movies and stuff like that. But it reaches a point where I just can't not say anything. And obviously the alt-right with its ties to Trump, it was okay there because we had an us versus them sort of rhetoric going on at the time. Yes, it was frustrating, but the rise of the alt-right led to the rise of a stronger and more unified left. So it was okay. There was an us v them situation going on. Unfortunately, with what Musk has done, it's turned into a just them situation, or just us situation. What he's trying to do is suppress the voice of the entire other side of the equation. I find it so smug that he's posting about wanting to turn Twitter and turning Twitter into a free form website where the left and the right are equally heard, and there's no real it's completely 50-50, and I'm pissing off the left and the right, that means everybody feels equal. No, dude, no freaking way. You've been bringing back alt-right Twitter accounts whilst banning anyone who says anything slightly left-wing that you don't like. What are you talking about, dude? You fucking weirdo. There are so many things I could say, about this guy. Obviously, he's a billionaire, and there's no such thing as a good billionaire. There's no such thing as a smart billionaire either. There are many lucky billionaires and billionaires with rich parents. I can't think of a single billionaire that didn't have a very well-off parent. Obviously, he's botched the Twitter launch. The Twitter Blue was a complete failure. All of the advertisers are pulling out of it. His plan to enact free speech has left some more account bans than previously. His plan to bring back previously banned accounts has led to Kanye praising Hitler and then having to be banned again. He's hemorrhaging money, and he has done a phenomenally bad job. And for anyone who tries to defend that situation, for anyone who actually is like, the layoffs. He had to lay off, what was it, 7,000 people, 4,000 people, something like that. That's trickle-down economics for you. They say trickle-down economics is where the rich, they take all of their big sums of money and they pump it into a company, and that creates jobs. Well, the richest man in the world took one of the biggest sums in the world, pumped it into a company, and fired 7,000 people. That's trickle-down economics for you. That's the real trickle-down economics. Capitalism isn't working right now. Elon's completely botched that. And there are a lot of people saying, well, look, he had to do it. He had to do it. It's a failing company. They were hemorrhaging money. They were, on the verge of being bankrupt. Then don't fucking buy a company. He's not a genius for buying a failed company and then just trying to patch it together with fucking gaffer tape. That's not genius. Don't buy the company to begin with, you fucking moron. But I digress. And it seems to be this weird thing that's going on, this big eruption that's going on the internet. Musk keeps talking about these great figures and the engagement is so high on Twitter right now, and I refuse to believe that he doesn't understand that that's because there's so much hype going on, because everybody's pissed off. But eventually everybody's going to get bored of that, and all of the people who are talking about how much they dislike Twitter are going to find that alternative and slowly transition away. But obviously it's not going to happen immediately, because they've been on here for years and they need somewhere else to go. Once they're done being pissed off, then they're going to be pissed off, and then they're going to leave. In due time, all of this will slow down, and people will realize what a horrible system it is, and that it's just toxic and depressing being on Twitter nowadays. Literally, there is a cut-off moment where Musk took over, and suddenly it became so much more pro-right and so much more depressing. And like I said, it's led to things like Kanye thinking, okay, cool, I've got a platform again. Hitler's great, and I don't even have to go into how bad that is. And of course, it's led to all of this crazy turmoil that's going on right now, where the things are fucking up for Musk. Musk is hemorrhaging money and creating an alt-right dystopia where the world is just a despicable place and completely crumbling, particularly socially. Obviously, Kanye did some anti-Semitism and lost a bunch of sponsorships and deals, and is hemorrhaging money too, paying $200,000 a month to Kim Kardashian and praising Hitler, because what else is he gonna do? You've got, what was it, FTX, it's a crypto company that has gone completely bankrupt, one of the biggest forces in crypto, because it was a scam. You've got Twitter, Facebook, they're letting go, 10,000 employees, and Mark Zuckerberg has lost billions in the metaverse, which looks like a cheap knockoff of Wii bowling. All of this stuff is happening. Oh yeah, and Amazon are laying off a bunch of people and losing money too. All of this stuff is happening because of this false world that we built up over the past couple of years, where it's just a bunch of people going nuts and going crazy. This seems to be, I don't know if it has anything to do with the pandemic or what, but it has been in the past couple of years, all of these people just going nuts and just doing crazy shit. And I personally think that a lot of it is fueled on by Trump, and then a lot of turmoil in the years that followed that. But yeah, people just going nuts and just doing crazy shit for attention. And they built up a lot through that attention, and then they've had to watch all of that wash away because they can't maintain that, they can't retain it, because if you just make a bunch of noise and people look at you because of that, you can't keep that up. You can't keep what you get from that going. You just can't do it. I really think that for a lot of these billionaires, the big issue is that they've seen all of these shows and all of this atmosphere that was built around the 80s, where you had this crazy businessman who worked crazy hours but forced everyone else to, and on a whim and a prayer, and by the end of it, they had a successful business because they had a mini heart attack. They had 7 heart attacks, but they did it for the business, and it was all amazing, and cocaine parties and the Wolf of Wall Street. And then someone like Musk thinks that is attainable and is achievable, whilst ignoring the fact that that guy at the top who was doing all of that on a whim and a prayer was just considered a bit of a weirdo and didn't actually do anything. They just pushed that guy to the side and said, that's crazy. We're going to go do this, and we're going to go work on the company and patch everything together and actually make it work in some way. But, people like Musk and all of these crazy lunatics, these evangelical businessmen, think that they're these crazy awesome people who'll be remembered forever because he was crazy, but he got the job done, and he was this great force. But they're not. They're just delusional. I think a lot of conservatives feel the same way. They think that, you know, they're going to be that next guy. They're going to be the guy who was like, oh, he was crazy, but he did a great job and he made so much money for the company. But no, you didn't. Oh, he was crazy and he said it how it is, and, you know, he was a free spirit. And if you didn't like it, then, you know, screw you. It's like, well, no, because you have business relations to make, you have human relations to make, and everyone eventually is just going to become so bitter towards you that you're going to lose everyone. I mean, that's the way the world works. And I can't believe, you know, we're having to teach consequences to adults now. This is something like 3-year-olds learn, but we're having to reteach it to adults, because when you don't have consequences, you have things like washed up rappers who have always been phenomenally overrated. Yes, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is an overrated album, probably the most overrated album I've ever heard, say that they like the Nazis. That's why consequences are important. And also, just take a look at everything that's happened recently. This is what happens when you get a bunch of lunatics together who think that it's okay to have free speech notions and go completely wild and break labor laws and make people lose their minds working for the company. And ultimately, it just doesn't work. Ultimately, it just falls in your face. You get lucky once, and then you don't get lucky again. So I guess the moral of all of this is that I'm sorry, I just haven't really had the enthusiasm when I have to watch the world go stupid. Watching people follow this and fall for this, and all the alpha male and Andrew Tate shit, which I haven't even got into this video. It's tough watching the world be stupid. I mean, I know there are more stupid people than there are smart, but it's difficult to watch that in action, and potentially watch Darwinism in action. You know, it's tremendously difficult, and it wears me down a lot. And I guess the moral for you to take away is that your salary is not a reflection of your intelligence or even how much you work, because Musk may be pulling in 16-hour shifts, but he's tweeting constantly. I mean, that's not hard work, dude. Just writing some stuff on Twitter. 14-year-olds do it all day too. Yeah, it's your salary is not a reflection of your intelligence. It's a reflection of what family you were born into and what luck you managed to get along the way. And I think Musk is the biggest example of that. His dad was the owner of an emerald mine. He was born into a rich family. He did get lucky. He has never invented anything. He bought his way into PayPal and Tesla. The only thing he did ever invent was a knockoff of the Yellow Pages, but he turned it into a business directory, which was very poorly constructed. And don't praise billionaires. They're not worth it. And definitely do not let yourself work 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. Do not do that, because you won't get anything out of it. You won't climb the corporate ladder. You won't end up being the next Musk. You're not lucky enough. And unfortunately, your parents aren't rich enough. So anyway, that's the conclusion to this. We're going to get on to more normal videos after this. I promise. I have a video planned. It's to do with emos and football. It's going to be great. Anyway, I guess I'll see everyone later.